Uh-oh, guys. I made the Candace Owens fans very upset by asking what I think is a fair question. Hey guys, welcome back to the show, your home for independent and nonpartisan analysis and commentary on politics, media, internet insanity, and more. Guys, I was out Friday and traveling for a few days to attend a funeral with my in-laws' family back in Michigan. So I missed y'all, missed making content, but I am back in Miami and back at work. And one of the things that I have yet to really fully go through and unpack is the big debate between Candace Owens, the conspiracy theorist and podcast star who's made all these crazy claims about the Charlie Kirk conspiracies around his death, and then Andrew Wilson, who is a far-right debater and commentator, but at least on this case, I do agree more with his positions. Well, there's been this debate challenge, and they finally did it, a more than 3-hour live-streamed debate. People keep asking me, where's your take on this? When are you going to talk about it? Guys, they dropped a 3+ hour thing on Friday, and unlike many people on the internet, I like to actually watch in full and analyze the things I talk about. So give me a couple days, and then I'm sure I will have a video for you commenting on at least a couple highlights from that debate. But in the meantime, I asked what I thought was an extremely fair question on X about Candace Owens and about the insane amount of money she's making from this debate. And people got extremely upset with me. I must have ended up on the wrong side of X. I ended up on Candyland Twitter. And it is a delusional and scary place. So I was just inundated with hundreds and hundreds of angry tweets and messages after asking this simple question. Here's what I wrote. I wrote, is Candace Owens really just pocketing the $300,000 from the debate? Surely she is donating it to charity or something. No? But as far as I can tell, she has made no indication that she intends to do so. Seems absolutely wild to enrich yourself, especially when you're already extraordinarily wealthy, off a debate over the death of her quote-unquote friend she's supposedly so committed to getting justice for. So I thought this was a fair question, right? Candace has repeatedly attacked other people and saying they're just motivated by money and she cares about the truth. Right, that's one of her recurring criticisms of the Daily Wire. She's viciously attacked Turning Point USA for fundraising off of Charlie's death. And whether you agree with her criticism there or not, just taking it at face value, I mean, she has made so many millions of dollars already off of her content about Charlie's death. I believe she put ad breaks in this debate, though I'll have to double check that because I haven't sat down and watched it in full yet, though like I mentioned, I plan to do so. And regardless, it's like Candace Owens is already extremely wealthy. She makes a ton of money from her show. She married a man who comes from extraordinary wealth. His family is worth hundreds of millions of dollars. So, yeah, I think it's actually a perfectly fair question. Typically, or oftentimes, when people who are already multimillionaires do these kinds of events, they often do donate the money or the fees to some kind of a charity. And I think that when she's impugned the motives of others and saying they're all driven by money or what have you, it would have been a nice symbol to see her donate this money to literally anything other than her own pockets, or even donating half of the money. I mean, geez Louise, $300,000 for an afternoon is freaking crazy, especially because, frankly, if she had done it for free, she still would have made a ton of money because she streamed it on her show and got so many super chats and I think had those ad reads. So it's like, even if she hadn't been paid, the amount of money she must have made from this is crazy. And she claims, I'm convinced I care about the truth, and that's it. And everyone else just follows money, and money is their god, and all this stuff. And it's like, okay, well, you seem to like your change. And anyway, people got very upset with me over this. So we're going to go through some of the hate tweets I received. First reply, you sound like a person who definitely wouldn't donate to charity. Well, first off, I do donate to charity, relatively small amount of money because I don't make nearly as much money as Candace Owens. But secondly, it's like, I can't really think of a parallel situation here. But a parallel situation is like a tragedy close to me that I then monetize, make millions of dollars off of, and then I am invited to participate in an event about it. I don't know. I feel like that would be, say that I had experienced like a great loss of a sibling or something, and then I was invited to some event where I was going to be paid an exorbitant fee for a very small amount of time. I'd like to think I would make some kind of gesture with at least some of that money. But even then, it's like more defensible because I don't have millions of dollars. So like $300,000 to me is a life-changing amount of money. To Candace Owens, that's an episode of her podcast. I'm not kidding. So here's from Fortune magazine. We talked about this at the time. But anyway, they report that at Owens' peak volume of roughly 3.5 million downloads per episode, even conservative CPM estimates put a single sponsorship ad read at $50,000 to $175,000, and she runs multiple sponsors per show. So like Candace Owens makes a lot more per episode of her podcast than I make in a calendar year. So to flip this back on me is just not really, it's not really a comparable situation, babe. Somebody else said, keep this same energy with TPUSA, or for that matter, his own wife. They have done nothing but profit off of his death with merch since 9/10. Okay, so even if we take that accusation completely at face value, so then you're saying it's fine for her to do the same thing? I thought you were supposed to be different or better. Do you not see the hypocrisy there? How then she's literally doing the thing that she's saying TPUSA and Erica are bad and evil for? I'm not sure y'all have thought this critique through. And honestly, even on its merits, I think they've gone overboard in certain ways, for sure. But the idea that you would want to honor Charlie's legacy by fundraising for Turning Point USA in the aftermath of his death, I don't think is crazy, actually, because Turning Point USA was his baby, right? It was his life's work in terms of, obviously, his family was probably the thing he was most proud of, but then it's Turning Point USA, and it's this machine he created that was massively influential and successful. So I imagine that Charlie would want it to grow as much as possible. And if you look at it from the perspective as Tyler Robinson, the accused killer, who I personally do believe is guilty, but will ultimately, be given his day in court, or whoever, right? Or presumably, based on what we know from the actual evidence that Candace thinks is all fake and gay, well, he wanted to like shut down this movement or a voice for this movement. And so it's like, what better way to spite that than to grow it even bigger than before? Now, I think particular things they have done are distasteful, the ways that they've approached it at time at Turning Point USA, but just the idea that they would want to honor Charlie's legacy by growing and expanding the organization he dedicated his life to, I don't really see anything wrong with that necessarily, but Candace does, so then her fans and her can't be doing the same thing and just enriching themselves off of it without not making any sense. Somebody else said, you mean like Ben Shapiro, who enriches himself off the death of thousands of Israelis every time Daily Wire talks about the Gaza genocide? I don't understand what that has to do with anything. It's like literally, but just bring up Ben Shapiro no matter what. And you know what? Let's say at face value that Ben Shapiro was just a pure grifter who was just making money off of tragedies left and right. So then you're like, oh, so it's fine for Candace to do so. Do you see how that just doesn't? I don't even need to dispute that to argue, which I would in that, sure, but like we could, but I don't even need to dispute that to point out that it is in no way a defense of Candace Owens. Somebody else wrote, the nerve of some people to be getting involved in someone else's pockets. This is a broke person mentality. And then if she didn't donate it, I think he means if she did donate it, you feeble-minded baboons would find something else to say about her. How about minding your own pockets and maybe do some actual journalism? A tad hilarious for a Candace fan to tell me to do some actual journalism. Okay, babe. But then this is funny because it's like, is she not minding Turning Point USA's pockets when she critiques their monetary decisions? Is she not minding Erica Kirk's pockets when she critiques her fundraising efforts? Is she not minding Ben Shapiro's pockets when she talks about him and his business and her criticisms of it? Actually, no. We do have the right to question powerful people's decisions that they make, especially with millions of dollars on the line, are on the line, and when some of their decisions seem to contradict or at least counterindicate some of the assertions and claims they've made and the values they've appealed to. That's totally fair game. And generally speaking, I'm not like micromanaging, does she really need this fancy car? Does she need this? But it's like a public debate challenge with a huge amount of money, which, by the way, she had the audacity to originally demand more, which that's crazy to me. That's crazy work. When she demanded $500K, then she backed down from that and just took the $300K because that's already obscene. And that she demanded more. That must have not gone over well with the candy cult. Anyway, somebody else said, so do you not make any money off of YouTube? Yeah, you got me. I may, because I make money from YouTube, that means Candace is justified, who is already worth millions and millions of dollars and married into money and makes millions off of her YouTube. Therefore, she's justified in pocketing a huge $300,000 fee because I make less than that from YouTube by significant amounts in a year. What? The math isn't mathing. And even if I was some shameless hypocrite and I was just profiteering all the time constantly, well, your point all along has been Candace is better than the rest of us grifters. So it would still be fair to expect her to hold to that standard. But it's all so slippery. It's all just a constant moving of the goalposts with these people, with these types. Anyway, one final comment. Are you calling for Andrew Wilson to donate the money to charity he is getting from his pinned comment on X? No, just for Candace. Got it. So if Andrew Wilson had also received a $300,000 payout, I would say he should also donate that to charity as well, rather than profit off of Charlie's death. I would agree with the criticism of that Michael Knowles levied, that this whole thing is like, it is ugly the way that this is. Money is being thrown about this person everyone involved says they cared about deeply and want to honor his legacy and get to the truth and everything. Yes, but my understanding, and this could be wrong, in which case I would update my opinion and also call on Andrew Wilson, is that he paid her the $300,000 of his own money, and then the GoFundMe is to try to reimburse him for that cost. That's my understanding of it, in which case, no, he shouldn't donate that money because he's massively in the red from this, and he's just trying to break even. So I wouldn't have that same critique. But if he was getting some huge fee, then yes, I would gladly also say that he should donate it. So I love when they think they've just done their big one and pulled the biggest gotcha of all time. And then actually those of us who don't have double standards for people and actually try to, I mean, we're all flawed. So I'm sure you can find examples of me being inconsistent on stuff, but I at least strive to have one standard that I apply to everyone. Whereas a lot of these people, it's like, whether they like the person or not, just every standard they've ever said they care about just goes out the window. Honestly, I think Candace could do almost anything, and a lot of these folks would just ride or die for her. But I was getting these notifications and I just stopped looking at it because Twitter is such a cesspool and it's so unrepresentative of real public opinion or what actual normal folks think that when I start getting like just spammed with hate on there, I just turn it off. But I did see some of these. I did want to unpack it because, oh boy, they got very upset by this question. But even after addressing or looking at all their criticism, I stand by it. I think it's totally fair to ask why Candace Owens, at least as far as she's publicly indicated, hasn't promised to donate any of that $300,000 she was paid for this debate, after she has said she only cares about the truth and accused others of grifting off his death and that they're all just motivated by money and they're sellouts. It's like, she's already worth so much, so many millions of dollars. She's already made so many millions of dollars off of her shows exploiting Charlie's death with outlandish conspiracy theories and using it as a form of entertainment, really, for the masses. I 100% stand by pointing out that I think that's hypocritical. She's allowed to do it. It's a free country. She can make her own choice, and I can criticize it. And if y'all don't like that, if the Candyland cultists get in their feelings about it, too bad, so sad, get a helmet. I don't know, guys. You'll have to let me know what you think in the comments below. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you aren't yet. Do hit the like button while you're at it and consider becoming a channel member to support me. Unlike Candace Owens, I do not get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars per episode of my podcast, so I do need support from viewers like you. Hit the join button or click the link in the description. And with that, guys, we'll be back with more real soon.